A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the abridged version of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. On the show tonight, we'll be talking about the FIFA World Cup, the matches that have been played, the one currently going on, and what to expect tomorrow. Africa's representative, the Black Stars of Ghana, will be in action. Today, one of Africa's representative also was in action. So we'll talk about all of that even as we move on the show. We hope to be able to talk some grassroots on the show tonight, and also we'll talk about what transpired today, and it's going to go on for a week. Let's start the show tonight to talk about the 13th edition of the Nigeria Police Games. Of course, the opening ceremony took place today in Akwa, Ibom, the state capital in Uyo, to be precise. And of course, it was a colorful ceremony with over 4,000 athletes jostling for honors in over 30 sporting events at the Nest of Champions Stadium in Uyo, the capital of Akwa Ibom State. Of course, the governor was there. Governor Emmanuel Odom, he has declared the event open. The governor promises continued support to the Nigerian police and other security agencies while reiterating his administration's commitment to the development of sports. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, also believes that the games will strengthen physical and mental capacity of the officers and bridge the trust gap between the police and the people. All right, let's take some reactions from the opening ceremony of the 13th Nigeria Police Games. We'll come back for more Sports Tonight.
Is paraded by ASP Jatabalu. And the Akwa.
I'm hopeful that the national records will be broken in the course of these games in Akwa Ibom. New talents would be discovered, and our ascendancy and dominance in some areas of sporting would be deepened. Here in Akwa Ibom State, we have given the issues of sports development the attention and resources it deserves. We have a philosophy of catching them young and equally exposing them to the best facilities to help hone their skills. That's why we have spent huge resources to maintain this nest of champions, and our recently commissioned 18,000-seater international stadium in Eket, which has the modern amenities and an architectural beauty to behold. I believe the police games will probably extend one of their centers to Eket.
This week promises to open an exciting and enjoyable sporting fiesta for the pleasure of all. To the athletes, I encourage you to bond, enjoy the beautiful ambience, Uyo, and the warmth of the people, while not letting your command down in waiting laurels and sharpening your sporting skills. Compete fairly, win with pride, and lose with honor. That is what the police game is all about.
All right, that's it. So, of course, the key stakeholders, crucial ones, speaking right there. Okay, so let's move on the show and talk about what has happened today. Talk about matches played at the 2022 FIFA World Cup currently going on in Qatar. Let's show you the result and attempt to give you, of course, a situation report of the game currently going on, Belgium and Canada. Of course, it's a fluid situation. If anything changes, we'll let you know. Let's talk about what we already know before we go to what is happening right about now. Morocco and Croatia. The Atlas Lions of Morocco, of course, did Africa proud, got a draw against the highly rated Croatia. So the game ended goalless. Germany were stunned. I mean, of course, if you listen to us yesterday, we were talking about Germany, Japan. Could it happen? The Japanese talking about wanting to upstate Germany. And guess what? They did it despite the fact that the Germans scored first through Ilkay Gundogan. Japan, the Blue Samurai, that's what they're called. 2 goals. And, of course, they were able to win that group. And now when we were talking about strong teams getting beaten you also see Spain not letting the underdog take the day. They hammered Costa Rica 7-0. Argentina slumped. We saw what happened to Germany, but the Spaniards weren't going to let that happen. And, of course, they hammered Costa Rica. Then, of course, the game that's going on, I call it a very fluid situation. Canada lost a penalty. The guy from Bayern Munich, Davis, lost that penalty. He had many chances in the first half to get ahead in the game. They didn't do that. And, of course, Belgium, when they had their chance, got their goal, and they lead as we speak. If anything changes, we'll let you know. Like I said, it's football. It's a fluid situation. Anything could happen. Michy Batshuayi getting the goal for the Belgians earlier. All right, let's talk about what was the biggest upset of the day, and talking about Japan and Germany. We knew that the Germans had their problem. We knew that since 2018, they've been struggling. 2018 got knocked out in the first round of the World Cup. Euro 2020 got knocked out by England in the second round. Even with all of that, none of us thought this was going to happen. The Blue Samurai came to the field, came against the Germans with Manuel Neuer in goal, yet they were able to stun the German machine, were able to beat them. And, of course, on the strength of that, they've been able to get a win, and that win has put them in a very, very good position in that group. So, victory for Japan, really, really coming as a surprise to a lot of people, even with all the problems that the Germans have been having. It's opening defeat for the Germans. We'll see whether or not they'll be able to, turn things around with the other matches left to be played. Of course, you could remember that Spain lost their first game at the 2010 World Cup, and eventually they were still able to become World Cup champions. All right, let's move on and talk about what was never in doubt. What was never in doubt today. Spain, Costa Rica. A lot of people complain about Spain. Well, really, that the transition hasn't been smooth. The old guard, some of them still around. The new boys, a lot of people thought they were not ready. You talk about the likes of Pedri, Gavi, Ferran Torres, and they got the job done. But before we continue with all of that, we need to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll spend a few minutes we have talking about the World Cup and also Manchester United in the news. And if time allows, we'll be able to come home and finish it off with news from the grassroots. But let's go on this break. We'll come back for more on Sports Tonight. All right, welcome back. I talked about what was never in doubt, Spain and Costa Rica. In spite of the problems the Spaniards have had, a lot of people still felt they were going to have enough in the tank to defeat Costa Rica. And, of course, they rewarded the faith that most football fans had in them, and they were able to trash Costa Rica, led by Keylor Navas, 7-0. 7-0. Quite a few youngsters on the field, but the experience of the likes of Sergio Busquets, Cesar Azpilicueta helped the Spaniards. Jordi Alba as well helped the Spaniards to be able to get this done against Costa Rica. And before you dismiss Costa Rica, don't forget that in 2014, Costa Rica qualified in a group. They had the Italians and also had England, and they qualified on top of that group and were able to get to the quarterfinal of the tournament in Brazil. That's in 2014, just in case you want to dismiss the opposition that the Spaniards faced. In spite of all of that, a lot of people expected Spain to win, and they did win, but that margin, it's a thumping, it's trashing, and that's what they did. The Spaniards got the job done, didn't leave anything to question, and they got the job done. All right, let's also move on and talk about Africa's representative, Morocco, today against Croatia, the highly fancied Croatia. Let's talk about the game first. We'll look at the fans later. Morocco played a goalless draw with Croatia, and as far as many are concerned, that's a good result for the Atlas Lions, because in the book of many, in the book of many, they thought probably Croatia will have enough to take the day. But guess what? Morocco got the job done, and it ended in a draw. So what you have on screen, the fans really rejoicing, cultural display from the fans of the Atlas Lions, and of course the fans of both sides had their say when the game ended goalless. Let's allow you to listen to some of them, and we'll come back to wrap things up on the show.
It was amazing, you know. Like the only thing missing today was the win. But unfortunately, we couldn't manage. So anyways, we are happy with the 1 point. The rest, it's perfect. The fans are amazing. The weather is perfect. And today we got the jersey from the Croatian gatekeeper. So we cannot be more happy than this, right?
The game itself, it was great. It was a tough game for Morocco and for Croatia. Very technical. But it's a good draw for Morocco, you know. It was good. And for the organization, I think it's a great organization. I like it. As an Arab country, and you know, from Morocco, so I think they're doing a great job.
Generally, I enjoyed a lot this World Cup. A really good organization. I'm really proud of the Arab teams because we played really well with Saudi Arabia against Argentina and also Tunisia. And today it was Morocco, but we hope to do better and maybe qualify to the next round.
All right, so that's it. The fans speaking their minds, and there was something to rejoice about. At least they weren't defeated. All right, before we move further on the show, we want to talk about the Black Stars of Ghana. But before we do that, let's take a look at what will happen tomorrow at the FIFA World Cup. What will happen tomorrow, the matches that will be played tomorrow. So that's it on the screen. Switzerland against Cameroon, Brazil up against Zambia. These two matches will be very interesting. Of course, Cameroon has history at the World Cup. One of 3 African teams that have been able to get to the quarterfinal at the Mundial. All right, we'll see what happens tomorrow. In Group H, Uruguay will take on South Korea. Then Portugal will take on Ghana. Portugal will take on Ghana. Ghana also one of the teams that have been able to reach the quarterfinal at the Mundial. Of course, Africa's representative, a lot resting on the shoulder of the Ghanaians. Let's listen to the Black Stars coach, Otto Addo, once a player himself, speaking about the chances of Portugal speaking about the chances of Ghana against Portugal, and let's not forget, Portugal just hammered the Super Eagles of Nigeria 4-0. So Otto Addo speaking his mind. Let's listen to him, and we'll come back for more Sports Tonight.
We have the quality to compete with them. Surely we have to be very, very brave to go into this match, and we have to be self-confident, have this self-confidence to go into these matches, but I think our players are ready. We want to play football, but surely we also have to defend well. And as you can see from the previous matches, little things can decide. And all the matches were very, very close and could have turned to each direction. And I expect this game also to be like this.
And yeah, if we're going to talk about favorites, we cannot get into this game and lie. We all know that if we are going to get into this game, Portugal are the ones who are favorites on paper. But after, we have to show on the field that on paper is not what will happen on the pitch. So we are ready, and we know we're playing a very big side who were European champions a few years back, who have top players. But we believe in ourselves, and we know what's ahead, and we're going to do everything to make it very difficult for them.
All right, Otto Addo, and of course, Black Stars captain Andrea Yu speaking their mind in that. All right, let's talk about something in the aftermath of the decision by Manchester United to part ways with Cristiano Ronaldo. The fans have been reacting to news in the media that the owners of Manchester United, the Glazer family, are thinking, exploring the idea of selling the club. And of course, he has generated a lot of reactions from the fans of the Red Devils. Let's listen to some of them speak their mind on what they've just heard.
Very happy to hear the news. Working at United Pub, I see how disgruntled that the fans are about the Glazers owning the club and possibly stopping United from succeeding. As soon as the news broke, I was just glad to hear it. I think it's time for a change.
I think it's a great idea. We've been coming here our whole lives. Time to bring in some new blood, bit of fresh energy, and if that starts at the top, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the fans protesting out here sort of speaks volumes, doesn't it, really? For them to have to go to that length after so long just shows you how much it got to them eventually. It's not a huge surprise, you know. I think he's been someone who thinks of his own legacy before he thinks of the club, wherever he's been.
All right, fans talking about the Glazers, how the Ronaldo, of course, issue has been handled and a whole lot. Also, some of them speaking about what they've heard from the family. All right, so we have a few minutes left on the show before we call it a day, before we wrap things up. So let's see if anything has changed. That's what I'm interested in knowing. But then again, let's go back to the fixtures before we finally wrap things up with what might happen in the game currently going on as we speak. I guess, well, nothing has changed. Belgium and Canada, it's still just Belgium up by a goal. Probably going to show you that later. So Belgium up by a goal. Michy Batshuayi scored that goal for the Belgians. 87 minutes of football played. Belgium still leading by a goal. Yeah, so that's it. It's live. Just about 2-3 minutes thereabout before that game ends. The Canadians should hold their head high. They played against the second best football team in the world, and they had their chances in that game. Could have turned out differently, but then again, it's football. Football teaches us lessons all the time. So it looks like the Belgians might be running away with this one. 88 minutes of football on the clock. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping I'll be able to tell you the final score before we leave. Maybe we might not just be able to do that, but let's see how we go. All right, let's go back to the fixtures for tomorrow and say a thing or two about the fixtures. Switzerland and Cameroon. All eyes will be on Africa's two representatives, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, the Black Stars of Ghana. Hopefully, the two sides will be able to give the continent their first win in Qatar. We'll see what happens. Brazil and Serbia as well. It's a game that a lot of people will want to look out for. That's going to be tomorrow. I guess that's much we can take on the show tonight. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything we'll be able to bring to you on this abridged version. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Amy Adebayo. Bye-bye now.